And to help better understand what those survivors experienced under Hitler's brutal regime is our own Phil Lipof, who went on a deeply emotional and personal journey to the State Museum at Majdanek, the site of a former concentration camp just outside Lublin, Poland, where unspeakable horrors took place.
We are outside the wire of where they kept the prisoners.
Exactly.
After they got off the trains and marched here, they passed this gate.
So right now we are walking into the footsteps of the newcomers. Men were taken to the one side, women with children to the other side. And then those SS doctors would inspect each person.
And what happened to them?
All of those who were ejected during the initial selection process were taken directly into the gas chambers and were murdered within the next several hours. This is where all the men had their hair cut and where they were shaved entirely bald.
And then after they were done with that, they would make them stand here, shoulder to shoulder. Hot and cold water would come out of these shower heads, but it was meant to intimidate, meant to shock as they entered the camp.
One of the most important buildings and objects in our museum is the bunker with the gas chambers. This is the first one, and carbon monoxide pumped inside would cause the death of everyone locked inside this gas chamber. The second gas chamber, as you can see, is a bit bigger than the first one, and inside this gas chamber, those bluish stains that you can see, that they prove that Cyclone B was used in here.
Do you know roughly how many people they would get in here at a time?
No answer to such questions.
As many as they could get it.
Basically, that was the procedure because it was cutting down on expenses. That was the,
Cutting down on expenses.
Although the gas chambers were so close to the prisoners, it was a very well-concealed crime.
They didn't want anybody to see what was happening. So
that was meant to remain a secret.
Yeah. So they knew. As much as they believed in this extermination, they knew what they were doing was a war crime.
There's no doubt in this.
They knew.
Definitely.
3 layers of barbed wire, so nobody could escape. And it was electrified at times. But something we don't see is where I'm standing was called the death zone. A white stone about 2.5 meters wide, and anybody who entered this area, who even came near, who dared to come near the barbed wire, would be shot instantly, and the guard towers are so close by.
Barracks were built with the intention of keeping approximately 250 prisoners, which is a lot, but this is a number on papers only, because the real one was usually much higher. The shoes that are displayed here at the State Museum at Majdanek in this very barrack, they would belong to the victims.
And you see some shoes with heels, and you think about the dignity these people had when they were living their normal lives. And then eventually, all these decades later, they're crammed together in cages here on display, just like the people who wore them were when they worked here and died here. Oh my God.
The largest part of the building, the hall with the ovens, the corpses were not burned by the assessment themselves. There was a special group of prisoners who were tasked with this assignment, the Geheimträger, as they were called, the carriers of the secret, those who knew. And as eyewitnesses, they could not be kept alive. That's why the assessment would regularly shoot this entire group, and then they would replace it with another group. Usually, the lifespan of those prisoners was between 4 to 6 weeks. We are approaching execution ditches.
Execution?
That are connected with the largest mass execution in the history of all the German Nazi concentration camps. It all began on the 3rd of November in the morning, when the people were coming here group by group, 100 by 100. They were systematically shot over those ditches. Operation Erntefest, the code name, the literal meaning is the Harvest Festival. The prisoners who were locked inside the barracks, they recalled very loud music coming from the outside because they were locked inside not to have any witnesses wandering around.
They played loud music while they shot
The
people.
Germans played loud music to conceal this crime, first of all, to cover up the noises, drown out the machine guns. But secondly, it was meant to provide an appropriate aura for the Harvest Festival.
Mood music.
Some waltzes, foxtrots, marches. They executed approximately 18,000 people right at this spot.
18,000 here.
One day.
In one day. Can I stand on the grass?
Yeah. Most of the 78,000 people who perished here at Majdanek rest right here at your side.
Tell me what that says.
This inscription engraved at the front of the mausoleum where the ashes of the murder rest. This short line translates into, "May our fate be a warning to you."
So something like this never happens again.
Let's hope it never will.
Thank you so much, Phil, for taking us on that journey right along with you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.